I've picked myself a quarantine woman. I've picked myself a spot to quarantine. I'm doing some cool shit. I know the world sucks right now, but I'm sick and tired of complaining. So I'm fucking climbing to the top of mountains. I'm taking shit down like a real goddamn
Listen, I'm glad to hear it. I would like to know, did you have some projects currently that were immediately shelved? Did you have anything in the hopper? I saw that Mud Run Guide was like posting that old workout plan. I was like, oh, is that still around? Or maybe you're not even involved in it anymore.
I mean, listen, I still talk to everybody through business in some way, shape, or form, but I'm not associated with it on the daily. The Today Show in New York City wanted me to be in New York last week promoting the workout, but I was like, there's no fucking way I'm going to go into a hornet's nest covered with a bunch of bees covered in coronavirus, so I didn't go. But in reality, I was supposed to be on a flight from Denver today to Germany to go race High Rocks World Championships, which has obviously been canceled. Just before that, I was supposed to be in Dubai competing in something called the Government Games. At least $70,000 worth of prize money was gone just in this month. So the reason why I decided to hop in the car and drive to the mountains is like, fuck it, dude. Like, I'm not going to sit at home and cry because I'm not able to go to Germany and go race. Like, I'm still going to go out to the places I want to go. So, and I'm hearing rumors that not any of the races between High Rocks and DecaFit are going to happen like until mid or late summer. So, shit, man. There's pretty much everything that I had based my entire spring and summer on is gone. So that's weird.
What if you just have more time to get swole?
Dude, I'm huge. You should see me. I'm like ripped. This shirt I bought when I was in 2017, and I can't even zip the jacket up anymore because my muscles are so massive.
What are you weighing right now? What's your current fighting weight?
206 to 212, depending on the poop.
206 to 212. What's ideal High Rocks weight for you?
I bet you I could be untouchable between 195 and 202. And right now it was like I was planning on picking up as much strength as possible and gaining a lot of weight and then cutting it off probably like mid-March and then dropping down to that low two range. But you know what? Like, I just realized there's no point in doing that. And I'm realizing more and more I go on the internet, like my fans, like I could write something that's very sentimental or filled with information and stuff like, hey guys, it's like my favorite workout, or like, honestly, this is how I use my, I use my composure as a world-class athlete to handle tough times. People don't like that shit. They're like, Hunter, take your shirt off and pick something heavy up. So I'm like, all right, fuck it. And that's what I like to do anyways. So I'm not bringing anything that I'm not.
Right. You're a man of the people.
Man of the people. So yeah, dude, I'm just pounding weights, having a blast.
So I don't know if you know this, but my wife is currently a bodybuilder, and she's been working for essentially 2 years for this show in May, which they haven't canceled, but they're probably going to. It's late May. And the word is it's in the South. And you know how we are kind of down here, like Yankees can't tell us what to do, et cetera, et cetera. So it may not get canceled.
Yeah.
Like we don't know, but for her, the cut's massive, right? She has to like not eat and basically be miserable for a few weeks, right?
Yeah.
For you, when you talk about cutting or losing weight, like what is that process for you? Because I'm not guessing like that you're missing too many meals, Hunter McIntyre.
No. So here's what I do. I set a timer on my watch right here.
Okay.
I've done so many different ways of basically calculating how to get like gain muscle or lose weight. And I've realized that if I want to gain muscle, I need to eat every 2 hours, and I need to eat anywhere between 500 to 800 calories. And if I want to lose weight, I eat every 3 hours, and I only eat 500 calories. And it's like simple bro math. And I figured this out. What's that?
So, but the workouts stay the same then, essentially. The physical activity stays the same. It's just the eating that's cut down?
100%. I think humans existed in a way that we were like feast or famine kind of creatures. Like if we found an apple tree, we were going to climb that shit and eat it like crazy. And then we'd have to travel across the plane to go find another apple tree. And it could be like 3 days. It could be 3 weeks. You still have to do as much work as you were doing on a daily basis. You just don't have the same sustenance that you had to provide. So honestly, your body's really, really good at providing itself the capability to do everything with less calories or surplus calories. So I try not to change anything that I do regularly, because I'm the kind of person who wants to wake up in the morning, lift weights, run fast, do crazy shit all day long. So I try not to change anything, because if I do that, I try to cut back or overwork myself. That's typically how I end up breaking down.
I had an interesting conversation with Dr. Rebecca Hammond. I thought that was educational. And I know that you're a big fan of this show. So if you want to listen to that on your next long run, it was pretty good. Why are you making that face?
You know, I haven't listened to podcasts in so long. I actually, this morning, was starting my own podcast as you were calling me, and I was writing down all the notes on how to start it. It's going to have nothing to do with obstacle course racing.
What is it going to be called? And I will certainly listen. What is it going to be called?
It's going to be called The Morning Wood Show, and it's about fascinating men having fascinating conversations.
Well, The Morning Wood, good. I like the name. You're probably, you know what? It's actually super good for you, because you can probably get sponsors almost right away, even before you've got a lot of numbers to quote unquote prove it. You're a name people like to be associated with. You'll get good guests. I think that's a great idea. It's what your show could have been. What the Benny and Hunter show could have been, or the Ben Greenfield and Hunter show could have been.
Well, I'm going to have complete control of what's going to happen here. And I think once monthly, I'm going to have a fully nude show where my guest has to be fully nude next to me, just to have complete raw honesty between us. I don't want any layers between you and the
people
truth.
People think you're joking. I know you're serious, though.
I'm dead serious. Can you imagine? Listen, I'm going to give you the setting right now at my Park City place. So you see these 2 baller-ass chairs right here next to a great fireplace and a statue of a grizzly bear? It's just going to be us in the nude next to a fireplace having a conversation. And when I say fascinating men having fascinating conversation, I'm happy to have fascinating woo men come onto the show as well. But you know what? I just feel like I'm a guy and I want to have some conversations with some other guys. So
no, you don't have to. You don't have to explain. There's nothing wrong with all women shows, all men shows. Like, there's no issue with that.
No, I know there's no issue with it, but I'm saying there will be some women guests. But I'm pumped about it. Honestly, I'm a person who likes to have in-depth conversations about interesting things. So I think it'll be a fun way for me to enjoy life. Especially during this time, all people really are doing is just talking and flapping their gums. So I figured it'd be a good way to constructively spend my time. So I'm pumped about it. But I didn't mean, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, we've had this deluge of, hey, watch my crappy Instagram story, personal trainer business. And most of them don't have anything unique to say, have never really talked to a camera. And those of us that have been doing this a long time, who've got our chops in, right? We happen to be in a perfect position to continue to pump out, because people ask me how I'm doing. And I certainly can't survive forever if the race industry does not pick back up, right? Because like people aren't going to probably advertise, or maybe they will. Maybe I can get fucking, guns and ammo sponsors. I don't know, or toilet paper sponsors, but I'm, certainly people who are already making content are in a good place to keep doing that and provide people with some good stuff. What's interesting though about the podcast world though, quick note, commuting's a big listen time, and with no commuting, I think the numbers might drop a little bit. I'm going to know in about a couple weeks, but you see what I'm saying? Because people do it like, I'm a guy who only listens when I run. Some people listen when they drive and they run. So that's like half their time cut out. So we'll see.
Well, I mean, I've seen an uptick in what's going on in the internet and people's consumption, like time on their phones and stuff like that, just because they have so much free time. I think it will either even out, or maybe you might even have the scales tipped in your favor. I also think is going to happen. There's going to be a massive upswing in pregnancies and STDs.
Yeah, listen, I said that to Josh yesterday. I said, this woman wrote an article that like, she's getting a lot of like DMs that are like, just checking in. And she's like, not buying it. I know you're trying to try to get the invite over to my house. You're not coming. But yeah, of course you would. If you were single, what else are you going to do? You're going to just fucking stay home? I would go through my Rolodex and be like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Right?
Guarantee it. Everyone's humping each other. Drinking is through the roof right now. I wish I owned a liquor company and a condom company.
I think
People
those
probably aren't even wearing condoms.
But I feel like you're somewhat, dude, you must get offers for everything, right? Don't you get offers for like every kind of random ass business? And listen, you're an entrepreneur. Take a couple deals. Like, even if you don't necessarily believe in them, maybe just like take the money and run. No?
I'm actually trying to make a deal with White Claw right now. I'm not kidding.
Okay. And what's your offer to them?
Offer to them, I mean, I'd be totally honest, dude. I mean, everybody's drinking White Claw regardless. I freaking love White Claw. My opportunity for them is like literally there's this entire industry of people who want to be physically fit, but then you know what? We're not caged beasts. Like, we want to also show off the bodies that we work so hard for. I think Michelob Ultra has done this incredible job of like, I sat down with all the executives for Anheuser-Busch and did this like physical retreat. Like, it was called, oh, dude, that's a hot bod. Is that a White Claw bod? Yeah.
That is a 47, almost 48-year-old man sucking it in a little bit, bod.
That's still a tight body.
Well, listen, I'm fitter than the average American. You've seen the average American on an airplane lately, right?
They're disgusting human beings.
But I could use some work. But go ahead. You were saying.
So listen, I sat down with Anheuser-Busch people, and they were saying the only profitable beer that they really had, major beer that they had, was Michelob Ultra. Like, it was 7% gains every single year. It was this market of people who are physically fit, trying to also have fun without all the guilt. They're like, oh, I'm getting hammered, less calories though. So White Claw is huge amongst like the youth population, but I think really they got to start to bring that in. And back in the 90s, 80s and 90s, like when beer companies were really big into sponsoring like extreme sports, NASCAR and things like that, I was like, bring it back, dude. I'm a physical NASCAR, like 210 pounds of muscle. Strap me up with some beer cans and let's crush.
So,
and I'm drinking White Claw regardless. Like, literally, I'm not trying to promote alcoholism by any means, but you give me a good night, I'll take down 20 White Claw and I'll show you how to party.
So explain to me, because from my understanding, remember, not my demographic. I'm 47. I'm sober, so not my demographic. It seemed as though it was one of those things that was like PBR, because like people were drinking it ironically, but then they actually drink it.
People born to rock.
But you see what I'm saying? So like, is that what happens? Like, it's a joke at first because it's like a bro thing or a white girl thing, but then people really like it. Can you explain it to me as a regular person?
At first I thought it was a sissy drink, and then all of a sudden you start drinking them and you're like, wow, this is delicious. 1, 2, I can have like 100 of them, and the ramifications are lower than that of beer.
Because why?
I'm not a scientist. I just know that I get less hungover off of it, to be honest.
What's the percent? What's like the percent alcohol?
I think we're talking around 5.5 to 6.5.
And what's your case race minimum?
Case race has got to be a set of 10 and 10 beers, or 18 pack. So it's 9 and 9.
But what's the percentage alcohol it has to be?
Oh, it's got to be 4.5%.
Okay, so it qualifies.
So that could be part of the case race next year.
Why is nobody drinking that at the case race?
But that's what I'm trying to say, dude. I'm trying to make it more of a popularized thing. If you go to a fraternity, literally, it's everywhere. Fraternity, sororities. Like, there's this lower layer of like basically we're talking right here, and then there's the upper layer. I see like a lot of older, like middle-aged women drinking White Claws and stuff, and then these like young guys drinking White Claws. And then I'm trying to fill the gap in between right there. So I'm good at sitting down with brands and telling them, I'm like, here's an opportunity. Here's a person. I'm going to help you like pull that all together. I'm great at doing that stuff. So basically, that's my dream come true. I've been trying to get beer sponsors for years because, like, honestly, I really do believe in physical fitness, training really hard, having a great body, taking care of yourself. Your body's your temple. But I also believe that life's too short to just sit there and all of a sudden just like constantly look in the mirror and count calories and just like be this person who's just like a piece of crystal, like gorgeous to look at, but fragile. You know what I mean? Like, if I just dropped you, it's like Johnny. I live with Johnny Luna, probably the fittest runner in the entire Spartan race community right now. But if I gave him just like one sip of rum, his whole world would fall apart and like his running would, tank for the next month. He won't do anything with us. He's a fragile creature. I, on the other hand, yeah, I'm a talented athlete, drink gallons of beer every single week, still crushing it. Like, I just started this training program. I literally am doing it just because I'm like, I really like the training that I do. People are always asking what I'm doing. Here's it for $10 a month. Benny's the person who I write everything out. Benny takes care of the tech on it. I hate looking at apps. I hate doing like all this stuff. Benny just plugs it all in. And Benny takes care of the social media account. And I just said, Benny, make sure you post. I send him over things. I'm like, make sure you post this. Make sure if somebody asks a question, if it's a really important question, like if they're like, hey, what's a pull-up? I'm like, Benny, take care of it. But if it's something like, hey, I'm at home, I pulled my hamstring, this, that, and the other thing, like, something that's a little bit more in-depth detail, please send it to me. I said, Benny, take all of the money. Keep it all. I don't care. Just grow the thing. Keep all the money, man. I know that you're in a much tougher position than I'm in. All of my friends who are in this position of like this layer where they're like working their ass off and they're going month to month and enjoying the world. They didn't save a ton of money, but they have enough to sustain themselves so that they can live the life they want to live. Those people are all fucked. And it breaks my fucking heart because like, I'm like, dude, all of these friends of mine, once the flowers start blooming again and it's time for us to jump outside and go have a blast, these people are going to be in a hard way and it's not going to be what it was like before. So, I mean, it's certainly a bummer, but I'm going to keep on hustling. Like, I'll tell you something right now. Immediately I thought to myself, I was like, all right, I got 0 events coming up. What the heck can I do? There's a record that I've been wanting to chase for a long time, and it's the Murph world record. So I think what I'll be doing is I'm going to meet up with Chandler Smith, Noah Olson, Jacob Hepner, and we're going to go to a military base with a charity. I'm not going to share all the information right now because it's not 100%. I don't want them to – it's a big charity based connected through the military, and we're going to go – we're all going to go do Murph on Memorial Day, and I'm going to go set the world record. So
what's the world record?
I mean, based on it was a CrossFit created event through a guy who his name was I think his name is Lieutenant Michael Murphy. Don't hate me if I screw.
Everybody knows what the Murph is. I want to know what the record is.
Oh, the record's 37 minutes. I just set it. I beat it by 4 minutes a couple days ago, unofficially.
36:42 according to World's Records. WODworldrecords.com.
That's partition. Partition means you can go 5, 10, 15. You do 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, 15 squats, and then you do that like 10, 20 times through. 20 times through. I did it unbroken. That's the traditional way. So I'm doing it the way that it was created, and I did that way. And the world record for that was set by Bjorn Carl Goodmanson at the 2015 games in 37 something. I did it in 33.
All right, I'll tell you what I'm looking at right now. I don't know if there's any verification behind this website. I'll message our friend Armin. It says the fastest male time, Josh Bridges, 34:38. Yep. Female, yep. Carrie Pierce, 36:42. If you don't know what the Murph is, Google it now. It's a famous workout. So you're going to do it unbroken. Yep. And you could do it unbroken in how many minutes?
Unbroken, I did it in 33:45.
Okay. Now, if you guys get together, who is going to be the verifier? Like, do you need somebody there from Guinness or?
Well,
just film the fucking thing and everybody will know.
We're going to film it. We're going to bring in CrossFit judges. Everyone's official. Everyone's gone to the CrossFit games. We're all pretty stacked athletes who have at least an honor code where we're not going to be cheating reps. We'll all have judges. I'm going to be the one who's actually going for the record. I'm sure these guys are going to bust their ass too. I'm just going to smoke them. So my goal is to go 30.
Did you message, by the way, Jacob for me? I wasn't sure if you did or you didn't, but he talked to me and I was very pleased.
I don't know if I did or didn't, to be totally honest. That was a while ago.
Oh, well, no, but it was super recent. It was, listen, I get it. I'm not, whatever. Like, I probably could not get, what's his name right now? I could not get Fraser. He doesn't know who the fuck I wouldn't care. But I thought I could get Hepner, right? Met him a couple times. And he was like, and I messaged him.
Great guy.
Oh, I know he is. But when I messaged him, he big timed me. He was like, yeah, man, super busy. And I was like, come on, man. Like, do I have to bug Hunter? And then I heard back, hey, I'm free tomorrow. And so I thought maybe you did, because I thought I had sent you a text. Either way, he talked to me. He was great. We had some laughs. I really like that guy. He's sort of the CrossFit version of you, sort of.
Yeah.
In that he's just willing to say whatever, but knows his shit. And you know, I like the stuff he puts out there. I like his content.
Dude's highly intelligent, should probably win the CrossFit Games. Like, that's probably the toughest athlete I've ever trained with.
How is anybody going to catch Matt?
I think he's very catchable. Like, it bothers me. If I think if the cut system didn't happen last year, I think he would have been taken down.
What do you mean? You mean if they used the regular format, he would have been taken down?
Yes.
Because
so what
why?
What happens is you have to create as many people between him and first place as possible on every workout. So let's say there's 10 workouts. He takes first in 3 of them because he's just like super talented. You know, he's got that great lifting. He's got great combined like gymnastics and lifting. And, you know, let's say he gets 2 events like that. Those other 7 events, you basically need to have him be in like 5th place. You need to push him down to 10th place. You need to push him down to 20th place. It's your whole goal is to keep him from the as far from the top as possible.
Right, but he's dominated. The last event hasn't even mattered the last few years. I thought this year we almost did get him beat because of the different one.
It is, but here's the issue though. By the time they had put him into that last bracket, there was only 10 guys, so there's only 9 opportunities between him and first place.
Got it.
So what happens is you need to keep that bracket as big as possible. People basically need to beat the piss out of him in the first handful of workouts so that his points are pretty far back. You know, I've trained with him. I would say he's an insanely talented athlete, but when we hung out together, I beat him in a cardio workout. We were doing strict ring muscle ups. I got him on the strict ring muscle ups. And then all of a sudden he beat the shit out of me in power cleans, and he beat the shit out of me in another whatever.
I know we've talked about this before, but now that it's been a few more months, do you lose any sleep over those handstand walks? Because it bothers me a lot.
Yeah, it's real. I literally drill holes through my head every single fucking day. Because listen, I'm not as interested in CrossFit as everybody thinks I am. Like I think CrossFit's cool, but I don't think it's something that I would dedicate my life to.
No, listen, you had a thing, but I'm just saying when we saw what the next 2 events were.
I know, dude. Trust me, every single day I sit here. The reason why I brought up that stuff where I said I don't think it's that cool is like I could have walked away with my head held high and been like, listen, guys, I showed up. I showed you what I could do. I didn't get the chance to show what I could do because I didn't put the training in. I just wasn't smart enough to be prepared to get to that next cut. It's my own fucking fault. Yeah, you put a backpack on me with a bunch of rocks in the back of it, I'm going to smoke anybody who stands next to me. And then, you know, you put me next to another cardio workout, which are sled pushes, which I fucking love, and then muscle ups. I'm great at those things. I'm not going to guarantee I'm going to win the games, but I'll fuck some people up while I'm out there, and it drives me nuts. But you know what? Here's all I can do. I keep on showing up to events. I'm going to a sanctional June 22nd. I'm going to start training really hard for that right now.
Which one?
It's called Asbury Park.
Is it in New Jersey? Do we think it's going to happen?
I think honestly things are going to calm down between now and then. Listen, dude, that's 3 months away from 3 days ago.
Do you know who I heard the judge was? In that one? Hey, Hunter, I heard you and Madame Marie are going to be down on the boardwalk. Do you know what that impression is?
No.
It's Bruce Springsteen.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Listen, I don't know. I'm not a big Bruce Springsteen fan. Is that where he's from?
He's very famously from New Jersey, yes.
Yeah. Well,
it's like not knowing you're like, you know, I don't know. I know you're from New York, but you're more known as a Malibu guy, so.
It's like not knowing Elton John's from the UK.
Correct. Who are you listening to these days? Hunter, who are you listening to these days? That's what the world wants to know.
I was just listening to Marvin Gaye last night. Marvin Gaye, great. I like some like good soulful music right now. Like I feel like people putting like their heart and soul behind the words. rather than this like techno or like Billie Eilish being like, I don't need that shit in my life. Like I think they're all talented, but
what's the last concert you saw?
Last year on my birthday, I went to this thing called the California Honey Drops, ate a ton of mushrooms, and went wild. Listen, they're vegetables. I don't understand what everyone's tripping about.
I never did mushrooms. I did a lot of stuff, but I never did the old mushrooms.
So I'll give you guys an interesting story. So right now I'm writing my book, and I've been working on it for a really long time. And I finally said to myself, like, listen, dude, stop fucking dicking around and just get this thing done. So I'm on this chapter, which I call chainsaws and piss tests, which is basically about after I went to rehab in the beginning, and then I got kicked out of that rehab, went into like an intensive in the woods, and then basically came out of that intensive and was like told, it's like, Hunter, it's like, this is your last chance or you go to jail. Like, this is it. You piss dirty one more time, you're going to jail. And I was like, oh, wow. So I told my probation officer, I was like, listen, dude, I don't know what to do with myself. I was like, you need to get me a job that is so challenging that I literally have no physical capacity to go out and drink and drug. I was like, please, anything, I beg of you. Like, I'm just a physical person. Just help me out here. So they gave me a job as a logger. And throughout these months, I'm working, from 4 a.m. until 4 p.m. every single day in the logging mountains, Bitterroot Mountain Valley outside of Missoula, Montana. But I'm still going and socializing, especially on the weekends when I don't have work. And I'm like, what do I do? Like, and they had tests inside these drug tests where it would pick up on the enzymes created in my stomach if I drank booze. Like, these were really sophisticated, expensive tests. So I was fucked. And I found out through some research that mushrooms could not be tested for. So I got into the point where I was like having mushrooms 2 or 3 times a week, and I would be having like doses from anywhere from like the size of a quarter all the way to the size of a quarter like pound. Like, I was like just like eating as much as I could, because it was the only way that I could actually socially engage with people without feeling like a weirdo. Like, who's the sober kid at the party? Like, there was no such thing. So I started taking tons and tons of mushrooms, and I started to do it in like, what people consider microdosing nowadays, which I don't believe in. I was just doing that on a daily basis because it was the only way I could have normalcy in my life. And I got really into it, man. And I realized, I was like, to be honest, I just told you the whole thing about how I like to drink White Claws. I don't really drink that often. When there's a reason to drink, I drink. But I would much rather sit down and like with a bunch of my friends and go for a hike, or sit down in like a powwow circle and eat a bunch of mushrooms. And I feel fantastic. It's not like this crazy drug like PCP where I'm like in the streets beating up cops and stuff. It's like a very healthy.
I don't think people do PCP anymore.
Well, listen, I've seen YouTube videos. Honestly, it's a great experience. And like 10 years ago, no one would have thought weed was going to be legalized. I think the next big thing that's going to be legalized is mushrooms. Like, I think it's decriminalized in Denver now. Like, you can have mushrooms on you, but you can't buy them. So it's the next curve of the future.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Hunter McIntyre.
Yeah.
If the difference in first and second is often very minuscule, right? Like,
yeah.
we go like to the best of the best, right? Like, every percentage is harder. Has it dawned on you, occurred to you, have you thought, if I did get rid of these things out of my life, yes, I'm sacrificing a little bit of fun, but that's how I beat a Matt Fraser. That's how I become the absolute best at something. Has it even occurred to you? I'm not saying you have to do it or that I judge you either way. I'm just saying, have you been like, you know what if I just fucking put it all down for a year?
Dude, I've gone like 3 or 4 months without sex. I've gone 6 months without booze. Like, I've done all the things, and I've done all the research that goes hand in hand with, these monks would like not have sex for years at a time. They could punch through brick walls. And these athletes would, I didn't drink. I didn't drink for 4 years before the Olympics and I won by half a millisecond. I'm like, and then you find out about people like, you know, Michael Phelps was getting shit-faced a lot of the time, and he's still crushing it. I'm not saying he's a bad guy by any means, but it's like there's a certain level of talent, and then there's a certain level of mental armor that surrounds that talent with that confidence, that I'm not sitting here with like a flask in my pocket. Like, I'm not drinking all day long. I'm a man who needs to celebrate life, and like this, I almost feel like a Viking. Like a Viking goes into battle like very prepared for that day. Like, you know, he's trained all the time with every single kind of swing, with every axe and every sword, prepped his shield, prepped his armor, whatever the fuck it is, he's ready for battle. But as soon as it's done, they celebrate life, because that's what life's all about. That's the kind of man that I am. And when I was sober for like that 6 months, when I lived out in Durango, we didn't drink at all. And you know what? I went all the way through, and I was in third place at the Spartan Race World Championships, feeling like a superstar. Remember I kicked the bell or whatever? That was that year that I kicked the bell. And then I ended up coming in 5th place or 6th place or whatever. And I was like, dude, I just spent an entire half a year of my life being sober to focus on one moment. And I missed out on all of the other good times in life because I put too much pressure and precedence on this one moment. And I allowed myself to unravel like that. And then I realized, like, the next year, you know, I started training for TMX and Broken Skull Ranch. I would go about drinking. I would go about on dates. I would go enjoy my life. And I'd train mega hard. Like, I'm still shredded. I'm still hitting PRs in the gym. And I'm just crushing everybody. Like the other day I looked at it, dude, I haven't lost a race since 2017. That wasn't like a Spartan race long distance. And it's working, man.
Is that the bottom line?
What's that?
Is that because Stone Cold said so?
Yeah, 100%. 100%, dude.
You're not picking up anything I'm putting down, Hunter.
Dude, I don't listen. I'm not like a pop culture genius who thinks about these
You
things.
hung out with Stone Cold for fucking a year, dude, cumulatively.
Yeah, but he doesn't say that shit on a regular basis.
God. I'm not even a Stone Cold. So here's what I'm going to ask you, though. Would you consider, because I know OCR isn't your jam necessarily, would you consider getting in shape for Abu Dhabi? Because it's not a stupid, you know, high elevation mountain thing. It's a flat, sandy, whatever thing. Not flat, but
I've already said it, dude. Like my sights are set on that. I'm pretty pumped.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty pumped. I want to make sure that they don't all of a sudden we're going to Abu Dhabi, because I've been looking at like the maps and stuff. Like there are some mountains within like 2 or 3 hours of that.
Yeah, but they've already showed you the place. Like there's the world's biggest sand dune, blah blah blah. Like there's that, but it's not fucking Tahoe. It's not Killington. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it doesn't take anything out of my life to prep for like 2 or 3 months just to get in shape for that. I think it's going to be a blast. I hope Spartan Race does a good job, like what they did back in 2013 to 2014, where they used to have these humongous gauntlets of obstacles rather than running up to the top of a hill and then hopping over a fence, which Spartan Race has become now. I had a long conversation with Aaron Newell a couple days ago to let him know that I'm embarrassed that he's an athlete under the Spartan name, because that's what it's become. Like it's not like a big badass effort like it used to be. Like I remember I was looking through my phone the other day and looking through pictures on Facebook that we were having to drag like 100-pound tire up like a double black diamond. We had to like drag it up and then drag it back down. There's not shit like that anymore. Norm used to just put things in there that were like backbreaking and odd and terrible for you because he had the power. But now it's become this cookie cutter experience where it's like, hey, you've run a quarter mile. Now you must go through a bunch of metal pipes. Hey, you've run another quarter mile, jump over a wooden fence. Hey, you've gone another quarter.
But don't you understand that that's what you need to do if you're going to put 400,000 people through your race every year?
Totally. But I don't think that's the way you run a professional sport. I think that's where you run a professional event. I think what they need to do is they need to put a little bit more precedence on the professional sporting event. And I've said that forever. It's like they've now put it to Sunday so that they can focus on the professional sport. And I'm like, all right, beef some shit up. Stop being such a pussy. They're like, oh, wow, like the pros have to run an extra 100 feet with a double sandbag. That's crazy. Whoa, these guys are the best in the world. They picked up a bag of sand and carried it a little further. Like, that is not ooh and ah to me.
Hey, how are you doing on time, by the way?
I'm killing it, dude. Life's a peach. I can do whatever the heck I want.
All right. Well, so can you give me another? I got to take a quick break. Hang on.
Yeah, go for it.
You went dark on me.
I'm right here.
All right, hang on.
I filled up my cup of coffee. Now we're partying.
I also filled up my cup of coffee, and I'm done now. The pot's empty.
What were we talking about?
I hope you're doing your part, by the way, in supporting your local business.
What do you mean?
Well, you know, like if they can only take food to go, or you can take a coffee to go, throw those people a few bucks. If we all hoard, if we all don't spend money, then we're all going to be effed in the B.
That's what I'm trying to do, man. I go out and I buy my coffee in the mornings and stuff. I tip them well. I have a blast. We're killing it, dude. We're killing it.
I'm just glad that we're friends, Hunter. I'm glad you pick up the phone when I call. I appreciate you. People, I know I've probably said this before, but you know, the Macho Man persona, the Hunter persona. Hunter is the kind of friend that like only calls you on FaceTime. He refuses to text. He wants to see you and connect, and that is very unusual. Today, it's so easy to be like, yeah, man, love you. Like you could say that, not even, you know what I mean? If you don't care, you can just say it in a text, but Hunter cares. I just want to say that.
Crock of bullshit, dude. If you look at my phone, I have like 260, 270 unread text messages because I don't give a damn if you want to just text me some like, you know, random thing, or friends who just like forward me stuff on Instagram. It's like some kind of like GIF or a blog. I'm like, we got better shit to do.
Well, I'm not saying don't
friends.
Right. I'm saying texting's okay, but you're willing to go that extra step. I called a guy today just because I thought, you know what? I could send him a text, but because we're all, you know, a lot of people are doing the "are you okay" thing like to each other. And I thought there's one particular guy. I'm like, I'm just going to call him. And like, people don't even listen to their voicemails anymore. Do you remember when listening to voicemails was Scott Keneally? No, I refuse to look at, I don't like gross things. So I didn't click. It was like, don't click. And then thank God, Instagram, I accidentally clicked. Instagram actually blurred it for me. And I don't know if that's because it just fucking knows or somebody reported it, but it blurred it out. So I did not see his disgusting wound.
Idiot. That is. Damn, dude. He is so lucky he didn't go down to the bone or cut off like cut some of the tendons and stuff. I ran chainsaws for a while, and those things, they're not forgiving.
No, I don't go near a chainsaw because I'm not qualified.
This guy behind our house who's blind who helped me fix the moped, he's blind, like has never seen a day in his life. He goes behind his house and runs a chainsaw.
Hey, you know what I just ran into? Bracken and I were talking. I had a great conversation with old Bracken, and we talked about the legendary cruise.
The greatest.
We talked about some one and done races. We talked about the cruise. We talked about the infamous Vermont short course from 2014. And he said some guy wrote this article where he basically just bashed Spartan, and he had hung out with you and stuff. And I read the article and I was like, that guy was a dick. Like, you could have.
He was from Outside Magazine?
Yeah, one of those, Men's Health, whatever. And I was greatly disappointed. It's like it was such the easy thing to do. Like you could have written a completely different article about the same experience, but he basically just said, you know, we're all fucking idiots in the hot tub. We're all weekend warriors in the hot tub.
Like debaucherous people drinking and
that the race was stupid. I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying, like, I just thought.
Why was he hanging out with me? Was he asking me questions or something?
Hunter, you're like, what do you call it? You're the flame, and the moths just come to you, right? You're like an incandescent light bulb. Of course you know, you probably had a few, and you're probably saying some stuff, you know, and so he was like, I'm gonna fucking, you know, as a journalist, this guy's great for sound bites, but then he basically overall just shit on the whole event.
I had like probably an insane, an ungodly amount of pina coladas that night. And I woke up, there's pictures of me. I passed out with my dress shirt on, with no pants on, in between the two beds. And Alex Nicholas taught me how to play craps. Great. I mean, listen, there's this new thing called WOD on the Waves that CrossFit did. And they did it just like us. They just had a little bit more promotional power. And it was done well. And now tons of people invested in it this year, but now it's during like the coronavirus crisis. So I don't think anybody's going to go. But I think Spartan could have doubled down on that and done really well.
Right. But Joe was like, it was so funny that Joe was like, people are drinking? What is going on? Like they're eating? It's like, yes, Joe, that's what cruises are.
Yes. So Joe and I made this bet a year ago because he filmed us in 2017. He filmed all the Spartan like champions and like want to know about our lifestyles and like kind of like really unearth the essence of the Spartan ethos and the Spartan champion mindset. And they came to my house and filmed me, Nicole, Amelia, Matt Novakovic, Rose Wetzel, like everybody, John Albin. They flew out there. They got all this awesome content. And a year goes by. I'm like, where's this content, Joe? And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. It's going to come out. I'm like, all right, listen, I'll make a bet with you where he wanted me to do something stupid for Spartan Race. And I was like, I know it's never going to happen. So I'll definitely agree to that. I was like, you pay. You pay for us and all expenses paid for trip anywhere I want to go in the world. And he's like, deal. So in all this free time, I was like, listen, you and I should go pick like Everest or one of the big mountains and we should go climb it. And we should let the people know that through hard times, like, you know, hard men and hard women are created. And like, we need to go out and go show the people that this is not going to take us down. Like we're going to rise to the occasion. And I was just on the phone with him yesterday and he said, no, he says it's selfish of us to go. And I was like, listen, no one's going to your races. So you've got a lot of free time. So if anybody's listening to this podcast, if you don't mind DMing or messaging Joe, he says he owes me a trip and he knows he does owe me a trip. And if you want us to go do something spectacular to help rise to the occasion and help rise the morale of the troops, I'm willing to do that.
All right. Well, so just to be clear, I want to be a responsible host and say that we understand that this doesn't mean humans are tougher than a virus that exists. It's science. You can catch it. But this is just Hunter saying, hey, let's do something great. Not because some people are idiots and they're like, I'm going to fucking Spartan up to the virus. And that's not, you can't do that. Right. But just this, I like the idea. So what you're saying, just to be clear though, because your story kind of rambled there, he owes you a favor he filmed you. What is the favor that he owes you from? By the way, I've seen some like hours and hours of footage. Joe is like the Prince. If you remember that great story that Kevin Smith told about spending 2 weeks with Prince, and then it never saw the light of day because Prince just filmed everything. Descent like that. And have you seen like the Descent doc? That's like the unseen Descent doc is out there. There's like a 10-year death race project that's out there. There's a lot of things out there. This sounds like one of those.
It was one of those. And I was like, listen, dude, if you're going to continue to film me, I was like, you have to put some skin in the game. Because the only reason why I'm agreeing to this is because, like, I don't need more people to come over to my house to film me. I was like, I would like to do this project, and I like to be part of, like, things that grow the industry that I'm a part of. There was no financial gain for me. I just said, listen, I'm willing to be part of this project. Let's do this. Let's get this sport up. I've been telling Joe forever. I was like, listen, CrossFit literally, through their own marketing team and self-promotion, built themselves to be the fittest sport on earth. You guys still have the reputation of being like a child's mud run with half the people that do, like, who know about Spartan Race. The other half are like, wow, that's so tough. So I was like, you need to use.
If you've got someone, if you want to do something, just throwing this out there. If you want to do something like we're going to take a regular person and turn them into a machine, I could be that guy. Like you fly me out and I live with you for like 2 weeks. It would make my wife upset, but if there was a financial component, I could do it. And, you turn me from somewhat flabby 47-year-old to a machine. Like I could be that guy. You think Fit Aid would pay for that? Who do you think would pay for that?
I'm trying right now. You know, Nick Sully. Have you ever met him?
Why is that name familiar?
He worked for Human Octane for a while. He's a really great photographer and a pretty good athlete in the Spartan Race community. He's a photographer, videographer. He and I are starting to work on a lot of projects together. So I'm basically writing all my sponsors and I'm trying to come up with great ideas. So that could be one of them. I'd be like, I will take a middle-aged man and I'll abuse him for 2 weeks until his body is shredded and hardened and ready for any task. And
is he from Canada?
No.
He's not
from Northern California.
He's not the founder, managing partner of Shape Architecture. I just Googled Nick Sully, and that's what I got.
Nick O'Sully. I think I just call him Nick Sully, but I think there's Nick O'Sullivan.
Nick O'Sullivan.
You know, everyone's got like an Instagram name, and then you find out their real name.
Do you know that my real name is Matt B. Davis?
100%. Known that for years. I always thought your name was Obstacle Racing Media. Yeah.
Do you know my middle name? I don't think you do. Do you know I don't think I've ever told you. Some people do know, but I don't think you know.
What is it?
I'm not gonna say it on this show. That would spoil my big thing. Okay, here we go. Nick Sully, fangirl of Athletic Bruin, Human Octane athlete. He's gonna have to take that down because there's no more Human Octane. He's got a sweet beard. He's got long hair. He looks like your kind of guy.
Awesome.
Oral IV sponsored. Wow, he's got all the cheesy sponsors.
Listen, man, if you want to keep on racing, you're gonna have to, as you just told me, you're like, take on some sponsors. Doesn't even mean you really like them that much. That's everybody's game. So.
Oh, dude, and he's sober. How have you not introduced me to this guy?
I'll introduce you to him. I literally just became closer friends with him since we both live in Boulder together now.
Dude,
I've known him throughout the years.
Dude, how do we not know each other? Like, he does Spartan races. He's sober. I've got like 20 years, bro.
Dude, you guys would be great friends. He's got some really cool stories. Awesome guy. Very talented. It's my goal through this next year. I've realized that working with all these companies, even though I'm very fortunate to be sponsored and get to have these opportunities, I'm just going to take content creation into my own hands, partner up with somebody cool like this, tell people who are sponsoring me, like, listen, we will do anything you want us to do. Just afford the fact that I need to take myself and this guy with me, and then we'll start the content.
Well, you and I have talked about this, about, you working with some of these brands and like you having great ideas. And dude, if anybody is primed to be their own, to do like what Jacob does, is you, right? Like, you love this stuff. You're natural on the camera. It's fun. You can probably afford to hire, you can probably ship out some of the editing stuff, right?
Yeah.
And crank the stuff out, and no, you don't get rich as a content creator on day one, but it also builds your brand for down the line. Who knows, maybe one day when you actually can't compete or you break something, right?
Hey, take it easy.
No, but I'm saying, like, Jacob and I talked about that. He's like, look, like, I've got to do something. Like, I can't be an athlete forever. I mean, you could be you could be a ripped 70-year-old, but maybe not.
Dude, he told me he might retire after this year.
Right. So if you can put yourself in a position, just dude, it's all about multiple streams of income, multiple streams. So I think if anyone's primed, go get yourself a half decent camera. You always have friends.
We got
around.
that.
You always
It's good to go.
You always have friends around who are willing to do fun, wacky stuff with you.
Well, dude, that's the thing that sucks. And listen, everybody's in a similar tough situation. We were literally starting to film everything, and then all of a sudden this social distancing started, and he can't come over the house and everything. So
I know, but content is king right now, even more. He can come to your house.
Matt won't allow anybody to come to our house.
Matt,
He's very strict. Rocky Mountain Kempson. Matt Kempson.
Is that who you live with?
Yeah, I live with Kempson, and I live with Johnny Lunar Limmers.
Listen, there's always so much broing happening with you at like all these different Colorado, Malibu, whatever. I honestly never know. I just see a garage. I see Dylan. So I don't know who's living with who right now. Like I said, you're like the moth to the flame. Like, people just come in and out of your orbit. You're like a
planet. We basically have the training camp. We've always had that house there. We're trying to get another house and like actually live there more semi-permanently. But we've had this house for the last year. After Malibu burnt down, we rented this house. Kempson, Cole, and I moved in together. Then Cole got a girlfriend, completely disappeared. Like, I haven't seen that kid in like 2 years. Then Johnny moved in, and Johnny jogs all day long. Kempson and I lift weights and cook steaks, and then we just crush the world. Dude, we went.
If you had to pick one of those two as like a boyfriend, right? Like you had to, like, who would you pick?
Well, Kempson and I have already talked about getting into a domestic partnership forever. Like, I would do anything to be more gay than I am. Everybody accuses me of being gay. I wish I was gay.
I'm just saying those are two really good looking guys.
I think Johnny's super pretty, but I just like don't think he's really he's not my soulmate. I think Kempson's an incredibly handsome man. We bond on so many different levels. Like, we could climb to the top of a mountain, and then when we're up there, I'm like, "You want to bang?" And we'd be like, "Yeah." So if we had to do that, well, that's what we do it.
I'm just going to do some real talk for you. Last year in Jacksonville was the first pro day, and it was the first race of the year. And I'd never met Newell before. I'd never met Johnny before. And Johnny, I was like, is this a male model? Is this like a Latin male model? He's got the brown skin and the eyes. Seriously, was like, this guy's fucking handsome, right?
Yeah.
I mean, literally, I was like, this guy's amazing. And then Matt, I call the chubby Kempson. Ryan is the ugly Kempson. I'm sorry, Ryan, but you are, right? It's like Matt got all the looks there, right? What are you laughing at?
Dude, you're gonna get shivved next time you go to.
No, dude. Did I ever tell you the time that
someone's gonna take a piece of metal with duct tape wrapped around one side and stab you in the ribs?
Dude, did I ever tell you when Matt and Ryan were convinced I didn't know the difference between the two of them because I was trolling them on text?
Yeah. I've heard. There's always been. Everybody's always got one story with you. I'm like, hey, I'm talking to Matt. They're like, fuck that guy, blah 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 blah. And I'm like, God. I mean, you and I had our own version of beef for a couple of years. So
we did. I'm so glad we got over it. You just can I say that you actually refriended me on Facebook, and it was like,
yeah, it's nice.
5 fucking years later.
Dude, I actually love the block. If I'm in a position where I've made my statement, I'm like, hey, listen, we can't be doing this anymore. I just put the block down, and if I see you face to face, I'm like, hey, listen, still think that you're an asshole, but I hope you're having a great day.
Right.
But I'm a very polite person when I have breakups with friends and girlfriends.
No, because you've had a lot. I feel like you've had a lot of ups and downs too, right? Like we all have over the years.
Trust me, I'm not saying I'm an angel by any means. I'm a very challenging person. I'm either on your team or I'm off your team. I think that's a lot of people pick me. So, yeah, it's all right. I think you just need to be the big person. I'm a big person. I believe in forgiving. I just don't believe in forgetting. Like that's something you need to really have in your lifestyle. Like if you're somebody who's willing to forgive and be like, hey, I totally understand a mistake is made. It's the forget that's something that's going to really challenge everybody's life. And it's very easy to forget. So I always try to like make sure that I keep that shit front and center. And you never did anything that bad to me that I was willing to pass our transgression.
I think the worst thing I did, correct me if I'm wrong, was I pushed the thing with you and Bear and you were annoyed by it because I was kind of being like a media whore. I can admit it. I was like, ooh, they got a battle going on. And I was like, I kept pushing that. And you're like, fuck you, we're friends. Stop pushing that.
Yeah.
Is that the worst thing I ever did to you?
I think so. And I was like, listen, I'm willing to admit that, a big man with sometimes a sensitive side can listen, there's a chink in every man's armor.
Right. But I'm saying I apologized for that a long time ago, but you still weren't going to block me. You unblocked me, rather.
Well, also, at that point, it was just fun.
Right.
I mean, I have some people that have been blocked forever, and it's just hysterical. Yeah. So,
well, you know what? Well, I do think like the whole like Bracken and I, if you're listening, we came together. I don't know if he knows this, but we were talking and he admitted I didn't like you for these reasons. Right. And then he admitted his own part in it. And I thought, dude, that's huge. And like that broke another barrier away. Like I feel I could sit naked with Bracken and do a podcast now because he told me why he didn't like me and he saw his part. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Don't steal my idea about naked podcasting.
No, I'm not. I knew you'd understand that level of no, dude. That's not
that level of commitment and trust. Level of commitment and trust. I miss Bracken. I really do. I hope that he heals up when he comes back to war. He needs to get out there. I think High Rocks and Decafit are probably the thing that are going to suit him very, very well. And I want him to have I want that samurai to come back, and start hitting it hard.
Well, I think he and Bracken, he and Kirk are doing the closest thing to the show you and Greenfield did when it first came out. Like informative, a little fun. Of course, no one's you, but most of the guys that do those kind of podcasts are boring. That like try to be or they try to be funny and they're not. And
those guys are good.
No, they're great. I'm saying that it's the only training show that I even listen to. I don't listen to training shows. Those are boring to me, but they do a good job. Yeah.
I think, no, what I was saying, I'm not talking about the show. I want Bracken to come back and become a beast again. He hurt his knee. I want him to come back. Like when there's like, that guy used to be like a warrior back in the day and everyone really respected him. Then he kind of gets out of the game and all of a sudden he comes back and his ponytail's gray now and he like fucks everybody up. Like that's what I want Bracken to do.
Dude, please tell me, speaking of ponytails, please tell me you're watching Tiger King.
What's that?
Oh my God. It's the greatest thing ever. It's on Netflix. It's like a 4 or 5 parter about this guy that runs a tiger park in Florida. And he's crazy and gay and gun-toting and a lunatic. And all the other characters in the thing are amazing. All my listeners are like nodding their heads. Yes, Tiger King. Start watching.
Is it really? All right, I'm in. Are they kind of like the Barnum and Bailey guys? Like those two,
No, it's like a fucking redneck as fuck Barnum and Bailey, but he knows he's a redneck. That's the thing.
Wow.
It's amazing.
That's like my dream life. I told you the first day I showed up to college, they were like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, I want to be Steve Irwin, Safari Bob. They're like, "We don't have an education for that." So they put me in anthropology, and that's why I dropped out. But if there's some way that I had like a you do this to get here kind of education, I would have done it. I would have been A+ across the board in every class.
Do you watch anything before you go to bed?
Not really. I read. I'm a big time reader. I think a lot of people, I play the dumb card, but I read more books than anybody, at least I know, except for my grandfather. We watch a lot of action movies. Like we watched Up the other day. That's not really an action movie, but then we just went through Mad Max. We went through Lord of the Rings. We watch Mad Max because like it's important. We're in times that basically Mad Max is like may become our version of life. And other than that, like I there's nothing consistent.
Lord of the Rings to me, sorry, hot take, boring AF. Like,
well, Kempson just finished.
You're still walking through the fucking trees. Great. Okay, it's an hour later. Come on, guys.
Dude, Kempson just finished reading the books. I'm a team player, so I sat there through it.
Jackson just put on Top Gun, and if you can watch Top Gun with someone who's never seen it, it's like a new movie.
Oh yeah,
like just anytime you can see it through someone else's eyes. Like I've seen Top Gun 100 times. Like I saw Top Gun in the theater. That's how old I am, and like I'm doing the lines and stuff. It's amazing.
Yeah, dude, go watch that movie and then go watch MacGruber. It's like this comedy movie. Have you seen MacGruber?
No, but yeah. I know the guy who plays MacGruber.
Okay, so go watch MacGruber. It's not like bad, so kids could watch it. There's no nudity or anything that insane. So MacGruber's hysterical, but Val Kilmer's in it as Dieter von Kuntz, and it's like, damn it, cunt. Like so, Val Kilmer looks so bad. Like Val Kilmer used to be a dude babe, and now Val Kilmer looks like a ball sack with a ponytail. Like it was bad. And I'm a big Val Kilmer fan. It's amazing to see that transition though.
Yeah, like Val Kilmer. Listen, again, like that's the time I grew up in. So playing fucking Doc Holliday in whatchamacallit, Tombstone, Heat. Have you seen Heat lately? Pacino and De Niro, unbelievable. You want to watch a movie? Fucking watch Heat.
I thought Heat had. Name, I'm totally wrong because I thought Heat had. What's the name of that movie with? What's the name of the actor who's John Wick? And
Keanu Reeves.
I thought Keanu Reeves, where he's like a SWAT guy and like stops that guy on the bus. What's the name of that movie? That's not Heat.
Speed. That's Speed.
Shit. I knew it was one word and it had intensity behind it.
Heat is a very, very different movie, and it's one of the best.
You know what's great is Face Off.
Another classic.
Oh, dude, some Nick Cage movies.
Some good stuff, dude. All right, well, listen, I think we should.
I just want to know, how's your Atlanta podcast going? You still running that?
I barely do it, honestly. Like,
Why?
Because this winter, we went straight from, like, end of the year Spartan stuff to OMG, Tough Mudder's about to go out of business to, okay, now Spartan saved the business. Like, I was doing content about that, like, on the daily. And so there's like 6 months with like I basically do 2 episodes a month.
Well, my buddy is a stuntman and actor out there. He just moved out there to get more work, and I can connect you with him and get you into the underbelly of the acting world and stuff.
That would be, I would love to do that. And then people also wanted me to interview. I put out a little thing on IG like, hey, who should I talk to? People wanted me to talk to your co-hosts on that Boundless show. Can you make any intros there?
Co-host? Which one? Simon?
Or the other one? I can't remember.
Turbo, but they're not from Atlanta.
No, for the OCR podcast. Just they're athletes.
Yeah, anybody you want to get connected with. Yeah, okay. I'll definitely do that.
What's your buddy's name?
His name's Sam. Like, his name's Badbeard on Instagram. Dude's the most like badass dude ever. He and I have shot a lot of content together. He and I were supposed to be flying out to Germany today, and go to Germany. We were gonna crush life, ride motorcycles. It's Badbeard on Instagram, by the way, and we were just gonna live the dream, dude. But fuck, the runners killed everything.
The runners?
Listen, I call it Corona the Roner, the Roner virus. It's kind of like a redneck mumbling version of it. Damn Roner, I was messing up my day.
I think they said runners, like the people who go out running.
No, jogging's for pussies. All right, man. Well, I love you. I've had 2 cups of coffee, and I've thoroughly enjoyed our day. Now I'm going to go climb a mountaintop.